I'm going to speak to you about discovering your dream destination. What do I mean by that? As children, we all have dreams, but somehow as we grow up, people tell us things or we experience things and we suddenly are reluctant to have clarity. As kids, we never think about going to someone and speaking to them, making friends, learning to ride a bicycle or to write something. But as adults, we suddenly become reluctant. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Thank you. In my dream destination system, what I am going to take one thing today and speak to you about is desire. What is your dream? And what is the most important thing in that? For me, you have to be definite about what you want. That is clarity. Be deliberate about what you want. I have heard people say, universe will somehow take you and you'll be all right. I strongly disagree. Here is why. I had a dental practice a few years back. That was my dream. But I didn't have clarity. I didn't know where I wanted to reach, and I really didn't know what I wanted to get out of it. The consequence, few years later, I had a 50 grand fraud. Yes, you heard it right. 50 grand. That's because I had no clue where I was going. I just thought I had the dream and let me go with it. And there was no definition where I wanted to go or what I wanted to achieve from it. So here is the question to you guys. Who has a dream you would like to achieve? Please raise your hand. Thank you. When you have a definite goal or intention, whatever you'd like to call it, you're more likely to become successful. Why do I say that? There was a study by the Harvard Business School of MBA. 84% of people didn't write or have a goal or have a plan to achieve what they wanted. 13% of them wrote the goal down but actually didn't have a plan. Guess what? Only 3% of them actually wrote down the goal and had a clear plan. We are talking about Harvard Business School of MBAs. What is even more interesting is, later when they went back and looked at them, the 3% of people who actually wrote down the goal and had a plan were 10 times more successful, and they achieved the goal more than the people who didn't have. So here is why all of you should really have a definite plan. What do I mean by it? You have a plan with a deadline. Who here agrees that if you didn't have the deadline of doing a presentation today, you wouldn't have prepared what you prepared last night? Please raise your hand. And even that, we pushed it, somehow managed to do it, right? But if we didn't have an expiry date, and if they said, okay, fine, might be sometime these 3 days, it's more than likely we wouldn't do it. There's a saying, if you didn't put it in your diary, it didn't happen. And it is so true. That's why it's important to have an expiry date on it and make sure that you know it's definitely going to be there. The next bit is, how are you going to assess that you are actually getting there, right? I wanted to write a book. The difference between 2018 and 2019 was, there's a saying that goal is a wish without a plan. That's what it was in 2018. I didn't say that to anyone. I just had a dream, and by end of 2018, it still remained a dream. But in 2019, I started assessing, where am I going? Is it going to really happen? And that made that possible. I managed to publish a book at the end of the year. So what I'm getting at is, if you really start assessing where you're going and what you want to achieve, definitely you're more likely to have it. Is it realistic? How many of us, particularly women here, probably would agree? We want to lose 10 kilos. We want to fit into that size 12 dress suddenly. This is what happened to me. Last year when I was writing the book, I wanted to lose 10 kilos and had this gorgeous dress to fit in, right? But I didn't realize that while sitting and writing a book, I'm not going to be able to go to gym as much, and I'm not definitely going to be doing exercising much. Because I had this 10 kilos, it was too much for me to even think about it, and at the end I just thought, forget about it, I'm just going to buy another dress. So that's why it's important to be realistic and think what you can achieve. Has there any time that you have had a dream which you thought it was too big to achieve? Raise your hand, please. Thank you. So next time when you have a dream, when you have a definite plan, please make sure that it is realistic. It is reasonable of you to do it. Jim Brown says, you are the average of 5 people you are around. Create a community, create friends who is going to help you towards that definite goal, definite dream, whatever you call it, or definite intention. Because you're more likely to do that if the people around you are right for you, to support you, right? So now, since we have been talking about being definite, can you please pair up and write one thing what you want to achieve by end of this year, please? So why is it important? Is accountability. When you are accountable to someone, you have that even to yourself, you shout out loud to say, this is what I want to achieve, and this is what I really want. The research suggests you're more likely to do it. And that's why it is so important to be definite what you want and make sure you write it. Last but not the least is the state of your mind. Sometimes we get so caught up, we want to be perfect. I am a recovering perfectionist myself, and I definitely can relate to it. Or you sometimes get stuck in your past, right? For me, I was this person who used to get up in the morning and dropping the child, going to work, having coffee to just survive the day, come back home late at night and send that last email and start the next day. So I was really on that hamster wheel lifestyle, living up the dream of everyone around me, but not myself. Actually, what happens is you don't value yourself if you don't live your dream. So that's why it's important to have that mindset. You can't pour from an empty cup. So make sure you look after yourself first and live up your dreams and ensure that you can look after your loved ones when you look after yourself. If you want to take home one thing today, is be definite, take deliberate actions, and make sure you fulfill your desires. Thank you for listening.
Good job.